horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, fancied in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and welcome. Yes, it's that time of week again. It is Sunday sermon time. It's Barstew's inquiry time. And yes, we're an absolute gaggle of geese talking rubbish and discussing the week's events. But again, it's not totally shit, as you very well know. We've got plenty for you in store. I can promise you this. This is an action-packed show. And it's thanks again to your questions, which have gone through the roof today. So you all must be sat there bored as fuck after the festive period, thinking, well, we've got to listen to this rubbish on a Sunday evening. And joining me to chew the fat and go through this weekly rubbish we produce, it's myself, John Lang, and Lord Malvo, Chris. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, this is a good show. We're going to start off just before the review. I want to get this out of the way, really. So John puts his Twitter questions up each time. So get involved with the questions every week on there, because he's got some quite funny ones. And Comfort Takeaway was John's sort of poll this week. And I believe, John, Indian has won this poll.
Yes.
That's it, indeed.
I think so.
Well,
Yes, I think Indian was the winner.
Someone said that Indian cuisine doesn't travel. Well, it's travelled from fucking India. Who was it, John, that said that? It said it's the only cuisine that doesn't travel.
oh, yeah.
It's travelled from India. What does he mean?
Yeah.
Has he lost
I
his
know,
mind?
it was that, wasn't it?
Right, so John's poll consisted of Indian, Chinese. It was like KFC and McDonald's Rammel, Chris.
Lovely McDonald's. I won't have a word said against McDonald's. Fucking finest cuisine money.
It was a close run thing, man. It was like only 6% in it, wasn't there?
Yeah. You've upset Sonic Lady. Never a good thing to upset Sonic Lady. What horse that was?
They had enough to shut down.
Upsetting horses again, John, just like the good old days. Right. Why has the great pizza been lumped in with kebabs?
Well, what would it have done if it hadn't been?
I know why you've done that, because most pizza shops, like, generally do kebabs, don't they? Most. I'm not saying all. You get some genuine Italiano flatbread.
I think if you walked into a pizza shop and there wasn't a big greasy slab of dynamite fizzling away on the rotisserie, I think you'd fail shortchange.
Yeah, kebab, right? I'll make sure that I keep down to a minimum, because obviously it's greasy as fuck and you're going to die if you keep eating them.
Well, you're going to die anyway, aren't you? You're going to die eventually.
The things round here now, a place called Burgerlicious, have started doing this red dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
And it's neither greasy nor, well, I was going to say unhealthy. It's probably desperately unhealthy, but...
Sounds like corned beef.
Well, there's very, very little grease, and it is absolutely banging.
Really?
Yeah.
So, listeners, have you heard of a red kebab that John's on about? I've not heard of it. Another Barstew's exclusive, red kebabs are mustard, according to John.
Have you heard of German kebabs? Are you familiar? Do they have them at your part of the world? Yeah, they're quite popular down here. Yeah, they're quite popular. I think it's sort of leaner meat, isn't it? And sort of better quality kind of salad and all that. But yeah, they're quite popular.
I've had that, and obviously the usual one from the local Albanians.
Cat's home, yeah. Mayhew home, yeah. Like the cast-offs, in the kebab.
I will say this, you're right, Chris, on the grease level on the German ones is less than...
everything German's better, though, isn't it, to be honest? Cars...
Four-sprung dog technique.
yeah, it's always best superior, I think.
Great poll. So, favourite takeaways. Me and the producer, we'd probably say Chinese. I enjoy when John comes to mine stage or in the York meetings, because we always have a Chinese. And we go to a place called Red Chili in York, which it's not your usual MSG, laden rubbish. I call it roadkill, but John will have pig's ears, pig's trotters, you name it. It might not be your thing, Chris, but...
No, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm sort of an omnivore, so I quite like that sort of stuff anyway, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, our very own Nick Davis said John loves a bit of roadkill.
Well, well, last time I had the tongue, tripe and heart marinated in
oh, God,
chili oil, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Tripe.
You loved it, didn't you?
Delicious, yeah.
Tripe stinks, doesn't it? Tripe and onions.
No, that didn't. If it's done properly, no. But it can do.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Dirty
So there you go.
bastard.
Yeah.
The shit you people eat. Ooh.
Yeah, outside toilets coupled with
white man's magic. Yeah.
road killing some hot
That's when the
sauce.
outside bug has its positives, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why you're outside, Bog, smacking shitting that out. Christ. Ooh.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know if it's your own stomach lining or the stomach lining you've just eaten. Christ.
Right, racing review time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's come on to that.
I'll go for a dump now. Let me know when you want me back in.
Be about 2 minutes.
Okay, fine, that's enough. Take care. I've just had tripe, so about 30 seconds, yeah.
Unfortunately, we are bereft of to talk about. The one I did want to talk about, John, in particular, was the one that ran today at Punchestown in the novice chase, the Grade 3. Lecky Watson.
I really got to verdict over the Supreme winner, hasn't it?
But for me, its jumping is terrible. I wasn't impressed technique-wise. It's got an engine.
He's going to get caught out at the Fed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's entered in the Dublin Racing Festival in the Grade 1 novice, and it's 10-1.
Might not make the Feds then.
No, it might fall there, and that'd be that. Might kill itself. I'm not impressed by that quote, and certainly not impressed by the performance today. But of course, it was a week that was littered with abandonments, of course, on the jump scene. And we had even all-weather meetings bite the dust this week, namely a Lingfield track that seems to struggle, John, with very cold temperatures.
It's an ongoing thing there, isn't it? And really, the need to do something. Otherwise, why are we bothering with Lingfield? I mean, it's supposed to be all-weather, and yet it's the first one putting the white flag up, isn't it, out all the all-weather tracks all the time.
I'm going to comment BHA a bit, not too much. Because they're only doing the job, which is what they're supposed to be doing. We slagged them off last week because they didn't put a suitable programme on for the weekend when everybody knew that there was a massive chance of everything being off. We said they were having festive bitty, which it seems they were because they've come out this week. Mm-hmm. I heard Josh Appiafi say on Sky Sports Racing, I think yesterday or the day before, commending the BHA on the job they've done this week.
Well, you would do.
I know, that's your job. But you're only doing your job like we do. It's like, right, what are we supposed to be doing here? We're trying to back winners. We're trying to get food on the table. You're doing your job. You don't need congratulating on every winner we back or every...
Maybe for us, we never get any congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not many congrats there. This is the thing. It kind of winded me up a bit, the fact that we're just praising an organisation for definitely doing its job. They haven't gone away and above. They've just done the job that it should have done the week before. But fair play, credit where it's due. I'm not just going to slag people off for the sake of it, like some people think I do all the time. And the BHA have got the house in order and rescheduled the timing of the all-weather fixture to coincide with the day. And it worked very well. And it's amazing what listening to this podcast can do, guys.
Well, yeah. you'd have to ask the two people that listen every week other than us. You'd have to ask them, wouldn't you?
Well, one of them will be BHA intern.
Yes, yeah, they're intern. They're in-house counsel to send rude letters out. Yes.
Julie, they swore about us again. Julie.
Send them another letter. Yeah, the cunts. Yeah.
No. We love the BHA, really. If you're listening again, loves, we love you.
Yeah. We don't really, though, do we? No.
You
speak with forked tongue.
I do. Look at who I get into bed with. 1 minute it's Jeff Banks, next minute it's Matt Zarb cousin.
Yeah, you're promiscuous with your friendships. Yeah, quite.
You're more eclectic than Jules Holland, aren't you?
Yeah, less plinkety plonk, but more eclectic. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
No, fair play. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, but racing has a culture of praising people who are performing at an adequate level. You see it with trainers, you see it with jockeys. Say, oh, that was a great ride. And you look at it and you think, well, it's an okay ride. It's not a bad ride. It's the sort of ride that you expect to see from a competent, experienced jockey. But racing has got a habit of going overboard when people just do what they're meant to do. Which is,
you get an average ride and you get the Mick Fitz making out, wow, God was a jockey.
There you go. Pass me another free sandwich. Yeah, exactly.
On a farm of this house.
The farm of this house there. I went down to Nicky's the other day. It's flying, yeah, quite.
So, there wasn't much of a review, but...
Before we leave the review, shocker there, isn't it? Mr. Gaff, that won the beginner's chase on Saturday.
Yeah.
Kind of think this will make a chassis, you know.
He's all right. He is all right.
I quite liked his jumping. I loved him last year as a novice hurdler. I thought that I thought he was doing well in novice hurdles despite being a potential chaser. It was one of them, anything he does over timber's a bonus type thing, you know. I think come the end of the season, this lad will take a high rank, you know.
I think you're right. I totally agree with your assessment of it in how high you think it'll go. I do, but got one problem, haven't you? They might as well hand the Arkle to Sergino now, haven't they?
No.
Tulliel that was second to Madgeborough, Mr. Giff kicked him out of the way. So I get what you're saying about Mr. Giff. Arguably, you could say Mr. Giff might turn up in an Arkle. Depends. Connections aren't daft. They're going to know come post time that Sergino is going to be...
Yeah.
I'm going to say if he lines up on the day, even if Madgeborough does run and wins at Leopard Sound in February, Sergino's going to be about 1 to 2, 4 to 9. That sort of price range.
I was thinking more that intermediate distance novice thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll get Trey Mad eventually.
No, like you say, I wouldn't have a clue. Anyone guessing Willie Mullins' plans?
Well,
it's very difficult to sort of predict where and what's going to happen there. Yeah, so completing the review in terms of abandonments, we had comments regarding all weather, and people said, well, why do they call it all weather tracks when clearly some tracks can't race when it gets very cold? You've named it wrong, really, because they're no different to sort of any other country in the world that use these services. They should call them artificial, really. The all weather just hands you a big hiding from a big lump of wood when you can't race in cold.
Well, talking of which, they changed the stick to the Pro Cush, didn't they? So why not?
Just change it to artificial, and then you don't have to answer to people and say, wait, it's all weather, why aren't we racing? It's that simple.
It is true, because I looked at it and thought, we are typical fucking all weather, and it's not, a bit cold and it's cooled off. So artificial surface, that ends it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get people's point, by the way. I'm not just saying I don't agree with you. It is a bit partial, but yeah, I'd just take the pressure off the mourners if I were in charge.
It's about the optics. Come on, racing, you like the optics. Change the name. There you go.
Yes, indeed.
I like them optics that they were double instead of a single. They're good optics.
Yeah.
Yes. And the stuff you put in your eyes, that's Optrex, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah. When I usually get on a train journey and I fancy a livener, I go in the pub, and of course in the UK you can only order a double, can't you? Like you can't just say pour a bottle into.
No.
I order 2 doubles, one with ice, one with non. Pour that in, and then order strongest lager they do, and then suck both at the same time.
Lovely, sitting next to you on the train for fucking 5 hours. Christ, yeah.
That's just a livener.
That's just an eye opener. That is,
yeah. That just kicks us off. Right, we've got quite a few subjects to go through and many questions. So it's a bit of a different show because we're not sort of ranting on particular subjects as much. But we'll come on to the start of the week where poor old Thommo, on his farewell tour, bless him, he's drove up to Ayr, 4.5 hours there, 4.5 hours back.
39p a mile expenses, ain't too bad. Yeah.
It looks like the poor old lad had a disastrous call. He couldn't name the winner until about 5 yards from the line, and that was from about 2 out. I jokingly said that there was probably a fiver on the floor in the commentary box.
Yeah.
He probably spotted it and thought, fucking hell, there's a five. And that's it. And took his eyes off.
He's passed the binocular to some kid that's just doing a bit of cleaning. So, tell me what's happening. Just tell me. I think the one with the red hat's winning. Oh, it could be the green hat. Not sure, yeah.
I'm defending you here, Thommo. I reckon that's what's happened. I reckon it's just circumstances. Of course, Thommo did the apology video explaining he wasn't starting a war.
No.
That was panic, though, wasn't it? Because I think he knows really the ratings on the wall. Yeah. And the so long tour might not last that long.
I think it's sad to see. I think there were 2 things that were sad to see. I think the praise on his thread for doing this video in response to it was embarrassing. Yeah. Again, we talk about people doing the jobs. He's a commentator.
Yeah.
That's your job. It's like everything. If you don't do your job right, then...
He takes the fucking gig, doesn't he? I mean, go on there. Moaning about the length of the car journey. I mean, what happened? Did somebody move the fucking track after he signed up to do it?
It's in the Orkney Isles now. It's a couple of 100 miles,
I'm not saying commentary's easy, because I don't think it is. Believe it or not, I've actually tried it myself.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, the dogs or horses?
No, just privately. Doing the colour sheets and just giving it a go to see if it's something I could lay my hands to. in terms of. I think it is bloody hard. I really do.
Yeah.
I tried it myself. I was fucking superb.
Were you? I bet you were. But yeah, you only mentioned your horse, your backs. Go on, you bastard. Get after him. Get after him. Get off. Fuck off behind. Yeah, fuck off behind. Go on. Get on you go. Yeah, etc. Yeah, I bet that was it.
There was a young kid like that at Sheffield Dogs back in the day. We used to call him Gormy Tony. They gave him like a part-time commentator's role when the main one was having a day off or whatever. And he was the same. Whatever he backed, it's 1 from 2, 3, moving third down the back. Where's 4? 4's got a lot to do from there.
Go on, get on. Yeah.
Come on.
You lump of shit. Yeah.
I hope to Christ Gormy Tony was from Gormy. Otherwise, you overstepped the mark there with what you've called him.
I have in these days, but I mean the abuse back then. He called one of my friends that were working down there. He says, I think you're useless, you. His reply to him was, well, look at you fucking talk. Your teeth are green, your hair's like a chip pan, and you've got a small dick. There's nothing worse.
Yeah. Bugger off.
Now, imagine that now. You can't do it.
Well, green teeth and greasy hair, dick's redundant anyway, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. It doesn't matter if you hang like a donkey, does it, really?
It's only getting rinsed out 3 or 4 times, isn't it? And,
yeah, true.
After Thommo's debacle, and speaking of green teeth and dicks being redundant, John, maybe the answer for Gormy Tony was Aria, the companion robot.
Oh. Absolutely, yeah. Wow.
What's this about?
And Nick Davis unleashed it on our Twitter chat, didn't he? Put this link up, and somebody's invented Aria, the companion robot.
Yes.
And she's like a cross between the girl next door and Pamela Anderson at her peak. And she'll even wave at you. So you can set her up so she's at the front window waving as you come in, you know? And then...
She's remarkably realistic as well, because when I saw the screenshot, I sort of shrugged. I thought, okay, some man has got a younger girlfriend. But you look closer. Not bad, is it? I don't know what it's like up close, but...
It's good likeness, I mean...
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So how much are these retail for? How much are they? Do we know?
Can't be that dear. They don't do much.
No.
Well, what's the point of having a companion robot? What do you mean they don't do much?
Well, it's just a companion, isn't it? It's not a
companion.
No, but
is it not? Oh, right, I thought it was. Sorry, I thought that's where we were going with that.
A companion could just sit there, couldn't it? I mean, they're covering a multitude of sins with what they call a companion.
Well, if you want someone to sit in silence, get married and just staring at you. That's all you need to do. That. Simmering resentment, yeah.
Producers laughing there.
Then setting to simmering resentment, yes, that's not on all the time. Yes.
Imagine settings you could cope with, simmering resentment after 3 years.
Exactly. That's like max setting. Put it on there like just general sighing.
Yeah.
Like that.
On simmering setting, you're not allowed to touch the lady garden for 3 months.
Where everything you do is wrong setting. Yeah, that's what it should be set to.
Where they start shouting at you.
Yeah,
that's it.
All the time, yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, what have you done today? You've done nothing. You sit there like a big lump.
Yeah, sitting on your arse all day, yeah. I'm thinking, can't you tell? Yeah.
And after all, it is AI, so they should learn that. They'll get pissed off after a while.
Yeah, it'll be intuitive, won't it? It'll realise, you put the fork in the knife drawer and it's like sort of you've murdered someone. It's extraordinary.
We just might look that and get me to a companion robot, and after 3 months she decided she couldn't stand the fucking sight of me.
Yeah, she fucked off home,
Wandering in Albert Park, John.
Yeah.
It offers no other services other than companionship. Is that what it is? Or...
Well, at this stage, because things move along, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, you betcha. I mean, the internet progressed as quickly as it did because of porn, so you can guarantee that the next second, third, and fourth generations will offer additional services, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, first thing Davis said, Tinder's dead. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Watching this robot. So.
You can't see Davis coming off Tinder, can you?
Not really.
Yeah, well.
So we've gone from Thommo to companion robots, and we'll come on to a slightly more serious topic at the moment, which of course is the BGC. It's a serious topic, but I'm afraid that we'll probably not make it serious. Granny John, she's done an article in Political Home. The language is changing. They've used the words heritage of racing.
What?
Unaffordability. Yes.
Really?
Yes. The language is changing, but there is something that is really, really getting on my wick here in terms of language they've used. Chris, you might be able to help here because she's used the words, you can quote this sister code.
Sister code.
So what is sister code?
I don't know. That must be some sort of new corporate speak. In fact, whilst we're on it, let's Google it, because I'm sure if it's a known corporate term, then let's see what Google says. Hang on, let's have a look.
Well,
I mean,
okay, while you're doing that,
yeah,
tell John. John, I just had a butcher's at the Urban Dictionary, right?
This should be a lesbian thing, won't it?
Sister code is an excuse one sister will use not to have sexual relations with someone who has already slept with their sister.
Wow. There's hidden depths to our Granny, isn't there?
Is this code from BGC's Granny?
It's also a rom-com, 2015 rom-com as well, isn't it? Sister code. But yeah, that's the definition I've got. I've never ever heard that at all in my life, and I'm fairly up on these sorts of neologisms and
we have some context?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, we can have some context.
Yeah,
this is the context of what Granny said.
Yes.
So, horse racing, a huge part of the history and heritage of this country, is facing a double-digit decline in revenues, with many blaming affordability checks on customer spending as the irritant driving punters away. We have made great strides alongside the Gambling Commission to bring in a voluntary code to ease this burden, which increase the thresholds at which such checks need to be conducted. So they're not backing away from affordability checks, but
no,
the language is slightly changing, as we see there.
Yeah.
But as we made clear at the time, this is only part of the solution. Working positively with the Gambling Commission, we now need an anti-money laundering code delivered without further delay. If the sport's current unnerving decline is to be arrested, we need to deliver that sister code.
Oh, so she's referring to two codes running parallel.
Yeah. That's my interpretation, John. Yeah, because
the anti-money laundering running alongside the affordability.
Yeah, sort of sibling code, isn't it? It's I get. Yeah, I think that's
which is going to be any use to anybody.
Yeah,
no, quite. But I think that's.
I much prefer the Urban Dictionary explanation.
Me too.
Yes. 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 I think that's probably. Yeah, I mean, where everyone gets fucked, isn't it? I suppose. But I think that's what's meant. But it's a very interesting phrase, isn't it? It's clearly something of our own creation, because I've not seen that in any context. Have you? Have you ever read anything like that at all?
No, there is a change in language there from the BGC. Maybe they know what's coming from the bar stewards.
Troubling, but it does seem to be. Yeah, there does seem to be a shift, not quite a seismic shift yet, but there's certainly the language is being a little warmer, isn't it?
Yes.
The seismic shift would be a bit early, actually, if it happened just now, because we're not really as far on as we want to be for the seismic shift.
No, quite, absolutely right, John. You're bang on there. But it's interesting. It's almost thawing of their attitudes, isn't it? I think that's probably a better way of putting it.
It's going to have to if they're going to save the game. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, they're going to have to alter their stance.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a matter of when, and when they eat a bit of humble pie.
Yeah, interesting times ahead, and of course the bar stewards will be moving forward with their proposals to exempt racing from affordability checks in due course. Everything is well underway there, and we're very happy with the situation we find ourselves in right now, and all will be revealed in due course on that. Right, an exclusive now on the Racing Post. I cannot reveal the full meat of the information I have at my disposal, primarily because how journalism works is that someone else has got this scoop. So what I'm going to tell you now is that the stuff you've heard on the Rory Campbell betting syndicate so far from other podcasts and some Racing Post articles themselves, there is a little bit of gaslighting going off here. All I'm going to tell you is that the Racing Post are up to their eyeballs in this.
Wow.
Yes. Someone else will get the scoop, and rightly so. It's their research and productivity in terms of what they've found on this. So the Racing Post are in deep trouble, and this isn't going to go away, and eventually this will come out. So what you're reading now, there's a lot of gaslighting, and a lot of people are being fed a bit of bullshit, I'll be honest. And this information is 100%. But obviously, I can't go into further detail due to sort of journalism code, if you like. It's not my story to give, so to speak. It will come out in the wash. So watch that space on the Racing Post. Naughty boys. Thought I'd get that out. Quite a bit of fun there. A couple of topics that we're going to come to now. 2 topics left before a few fun questions at the end. First is ITV racing. Now, first thing I saw was John praising ITV. I was like, fucking hell, I'd have another gin when I read it. This ain't happening. But no, some praise from John yesterday on ITV.
That's a bit unfair. Now, I do praise where it's due.
You do. I think as a show as a whole, TV, as we know, can do a lot better. We've talked with Ed before at York and regards to output, and I get Ed's stance on the output of the show. I get what he said. It wouldn't be my choice, but listen, if they're getting the advertising revenue in for the channel and it's all working, then who are we to suggest there should be a different output? So, John, why was Saturday's coverage, in your opinion, different?
Because of what I said in the tweet. They were sat in a studio. They had ample time to discuss racing. They discussed other subjects as well. I mean, there was maybe a bit too much about Cheltenham Fez, but that's another matter. You know, I mean, it probably Saturday afternoon isn't the place to get into racing politics and things, but that sort of format would give them space to do that. And they didn't have the likes of Luke Harvey bouncing around interviewing drunks. That adds absolutely nothing to the coverage when they're actually at the races.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the only thing they were maybe missing was maybe Adele in the paddock or something like that, you know. At the end of the day, people can see the horse, you know, if they go over to the pictures early enough, people can see the horses in the paddock and make their own minds up anyway. I just thought it was a much easier watch on Saturday. I think Tom School is really, really suited to that sort of format. He's easy to listen to, unlike Mick Six strangling the vowels, McCoy pulling faces, frightened to death he's going to tell you anything useful. Tom School, out of all the ex-jump jockeys that they've got on there, head and shoulders above the others. I'll qualify that. I don't include Ruby Walsh. Ruby Walsh, I class as an analyst right across the board.
Yeah, I confess, I didn't watch any of it all day, the opening show or the main coverage. So I'm only relying on you and what our listeners have said about everything. So I'm just going to send some stuff to counter what you're saying. So you're in the chair now. It's a big comfy one though, John. Big arms, lie back, recline. Councillor Woodman's been on with his election-winning dog. Apart from mentioning he was disappointed with no fish and chips option on the takeaway.
Fish and chips is a legit meal. It's not a takeaway.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, it's a sit down, isn't it?
He said, so he turned ITV racing on yesterday, despite having all the afternoon racing to talk about. They were talking about Cheltenham. How tedious is this long-term Cheltenham build-up when there's actual racing on that day that you could be talking about to generate more betting levy, he said.
I did say there was a little bit more Cheltenham than I would have wanted. It's probably easier for them. Terrestrial television pundits are notorious for not doing an awful lot of research. So, say for the last 2 or 3, 4 minutes before a race, they probably didn't have enough to say to keep a debate going 8 minutes before a race. They were probably spent up as regards their notes. There would be minimal notes taken, wouldn't there? Let's be fair. The gaps, like I say, that particular show Saturday afternoon wouldn't lend itself to racing politics. This time of year, what have you got to talk about? You know, they can't all talk about the Bar Stewards' proposal to get rid of affordability checks, no matter how much we like that.
I don't think that's ever happening, but anyway.
I can't see it being on the agenda in the short term.
No, I think even like Richard Oils will veto that for starters. Yeah, so Bert agrees with Councillor Woodman. Bert from Doncaster, great listener. Always gives plenty of comments and stuff, and he said he found it tedious with the Cheltenham build-up. Same as Councillor Woodman's reasons, so he's backing that up. Anonymous listener wanted to remain anonymous, which is fair enough. We don't mind that. Why not? An opinion, and it's a real person, as in, because I can see it's a real person, but wants to remain anonymous. So, fire some bullets here on ITV, John. How can anyone think an opening show like yesterday's is going to attract people to get excited by the game? He said, Also, Ed and Co saying yesterday there needs to be gaps around big races. Hoyle's the same. And yet ITV show as many races as they can now, so clearly telling stories is of no interest to them. Is ITV a racing channel now, or is it a tool to show off the best racing, which is what terrestrial once was? And why did it feel the need to show any racing yesterday when the good stuff is all off? And if ITV is just about showing as much as possible, why have racing channels, John?
Well, you've got to have racing channels because ITV aren't in a position to televise it daily, ever. You know, I mean,
No.
that's fairly obvious. As regards what ITV put out on a Saturday afternoon, they've got a slot to fill, haven't they? You know, and I mean, if by any chance the main meeting's off, racing fans are still catered for in some way. You know, and personally, I don't have a problem with it. If you're wanting more purist racing coverage, you've got the option of subscribing to racing channels. I think, considering it's free to air, it's there every Saturday. For what that's worth, I think they do a reasonable job.
I wish I'd have watched the opening show because I always like to feel a listener's comments in terms of why they didn't like the opening show. I watch it sometimes, just not all the time. Can't comment on that myself. The comment about the gaps in between big races, I personally, as a racing follower on big Saturdays, would like to see them focus strongly on the big races and have a decent sized gap between that race and the next race. But the listener says that ITV show as many races as they can, and so therefore they're not really concentrating on the big races.
I think it's a shame when the racing coverage loses out to the likes of, I'm sorry, Luke, but Luke Harvey trotting around interviewing drunk.
Yeah.
Because if you do that time and time again, when you know full well it's adding absolutely nothing, nobody sat at home thinking, I wonder what some pissed up fart fancies here. Why do it? Time and time again they do it. It's a cop out. It's lazy. It's a slot filler, and it's utterly unnecessary.
Yeah, some good counter comments there in terms of, obviously, when John says something positive about ITV racing, I always give it some attention because John, if he doesn't like something, he usually says it. And so the fact that John was positive on the whole on ITV's coverage on Saturday goes against the grain in terms of the listener there with some very good questions. Keep firing those in, though. We like different opinions. That's what it's all about. Makes the show. It's not just like an echo chamber.
Absolutely.
As what we've sometimes been accused of, because obviously the three of us agree with a lot of the shit that goes off in this game. Yeah, some more racing questions before we get on to our final subject, and then a racing funny question to finish. Bet for Better's been on. He says, when does the fucking flat start? Exactly, Bet for Better. He says, get rid of jumps racing altogether except the Cheltenham Festival and move it between Xmas and New Year, John.
He's the boy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Run it at Chelmsford as well. Have the Chelmsford Festival. Yeah, build council houses on Cheltenham.
Weather everywhere, painted purple.
That's only because you're 25 minutes away from Chelmsford.
Quite right. Yeah, exactly. Everything at Chelmsford. Yeah, build council houses on everywhere else, I reckon. Yeah. That's the way to do it. That's my plan. That's the 5-year plan for racing I can exclusively reveal.
Too many listed buildings on race courses. That ain't going to happen.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No, grade 3 as well.
Oxford One's been on. He said Shake Mo's selling up. And of course, this is come after the news of George Bowie buying 2 of Godolphin's yards. More evidence that he's given up on UK racing. Hardly any runners at the big meetings and now selling stables. Well, of course, that's Saïd bin Saror set up in the main. I feel sorry for Saïd bin Saror because I don't know what he's done wrong, to be honest. No. Over years,
why did he keep going?
I've no idea. I don't get this.
Dusty, I mean, I don't mean shaky. I mean, surely to God, there's enough potential owners around Yamaha who would know full well that Dusty's a fucking good trainer.
Yeah.
That would send him horses.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd think so. You think he could make a fist of it with relying on his own patronage. Just get out, hustle a bit. You know, he's got a few quid behind him, get some, business development type person hitting up all these, because, he's a smart operator. I'm sure he doesn't have to rely on someone else's patronage now. He must have put some money aside, surely.
Unlike a lot of these up-and-comers as well, he's a likeable lad.
Yeah, he had a very calm demeanour, a modest disposition, very amiable with the press. When the press have interviewed him after a race win, he's more than happy to share whatever about the horse.
The credit, yeah. Maybe he's been offered something else. Maybe he's offered some other job in the Empire, perhaps. That's
Well,
where he's got the kids still.
I hope he has, because he deserves it. He deserves success, that fella.
Yeah.
Sad day when Zeroni went, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, he was good at him.
Oh, yeah. He did have the needle gun, that lad. I think he took a lot of the blame for the operation, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think he was just the front man for it all. But that's another subject, and we'll do another pod on that one day. In terms of Sheikh Mo, in Oxford One's comments, it could be, just like the JP McManus situation that Chris mentioned recently, maybe JP's health isn't all that, and that's why they're having more tries. Maybe Sheikh Mo might be winding up a little bit because, well, he's not getting any younger. And
maybe all the radiators might be full now.
They need bleeding. That's 10 years to bleed all those radiators, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe it's just that, because obviously they've streamlined their operation a lot more. That the best horses that they've got are running in America. It seems Master of the Seas, etc. There's lots of decent Appleby horses running in America.
I mean, imagine the clamour, if right at the peak of the Godolphin operation, King George's were fun with Dalacani and things like that, and the Tories riding, and Dusty had announced half his yard was going to be open to new owners. They'd have been queuing to the fucking town clock, wouldn't they?
Well, that's it. I don't think Dusty's changed, because in recent times with Ruler of the World, and
still capable.
He's had Morge, a Guineas winner. He seems to turn up at Royal Ascot with an handicap plot that wins off about 105 and wins by about 6 wickets.
Yeah.
Is there many better, I would say, than Saeed bin Saro? Look at his percentages over time. They haven't even declined, even when he's got no horses. He's still about 27%. Ridiculous strike rate. A trainer to follow him like mustard at all weather. When he turns up with one after about 600 days off, he's probably had a tendon and all sorts. You can guarantee your life that it'll be fit and it'll run to its max. And it's just a brilliant trainer for me, but that's where we are. I don't know. Can't explain it, Oxford One. Great point, though. So he also adds about, doesn't it seem the hurdlers haven't taken off yet in Ireland? Might just be me, but the national season hasn't really got going for them in terms of quality. Well, if you look at the Triumph Hurdle betting, where there's the Henderson Aeroplane at the top of the market, not many Irish contenders for a Triumph Hurdle at the moment. Seen zero, really. And what we're in now, we sort of halfway through January. Well, normally by now, there's like a top juvenile hurdler coming through in Ireland.
They're cutting it very fine, aren't they? Because
well,
there's nothing going to go there off 2 wins that really puncture in there, is there?
No. The Donnellys and Henderson really could have a great meeting, because if anything happens with Constitution Hill, they've got Stateman in the Champion, there's Sergino in the Arkle, and they've that Fav in the Triumph that I think personally will probably start 5 to 4 on the day. From what I've heard, it's an absolute aeroplane. Works with John Bond. It's just an absolute brute. So if that turns up and wins a novice hurdle by 25 hard held, what are you betting off that in the Triumph? Yeah. Advised on our Patreon, by the way, at 6 to 1 this week, of course. You're going to get 4s now for the paupers. So you know what to do. Sign up, folks, and you get bets like that. And I think it'll go off short. I do. I think that's the one. The Henderson Donnelly horse in the Triumph. And I forget its bloody name. Northern Gamblers have been on. James Owen's Carrots. James Owen trained a lot of winners. Personally, Northern Gamblers, I'm not so sure it's that. I genuinely just think that this time of year, there is so much shit running on the all-weather. We're talking 0 to 55 horses, absolute crap. And he probably just gets them incredibly fit. I've noticed a lot in the paddock that they're well muscled up. They're really well trained. Maybe he has. I don't know. But I know he's having a fair success and a fair few winners. But would I go as far as Carrots? Probably not at this stage. But listen, he's definitely a trainer that can get him absolutely rippling fit. So, point taken. Luke Tucker's been on. Betting Syndicate story. People had spoke about it 2 weeks ago. Racing Post decided to release the story 2 weeks after What Is the Fuck About. Well, we've covered that in the exclusive there, Luke Tucker. They're in their necks in it. Don't worry about that. Pressure for them now. So there we go. The Racing Services said about the Indian cuisine that doesn't travel well. We'll come on to our final topic. I don't want to be seen as backing out of any discussion or racing discussion or whatever. But there was a spat between our very own, well, I say our very own, he appears on our podcast with a question every week. Very likeable fella to me, Samuel the Cat. Also, sort of a friend of the show in Chris Pull. I've got a lot of time for Chris. Met him in person at the Smart Betting Bash, and I think he's a really great guy.
Nice bloke, yeah.
Yeah, he is. Johnny Deneen, the same, plies his own trade, does his thing. And I'm going to need both your help here as well. But this spat, I believe, started out, it's ended up quite unsavoury. So Samuel the Cat, what he does, he analyses tipsters that tip in public, i.e. ITV racing tipsters, racing post tipsters. It all got a bit unsavoury, I believe, this week, Chris.
Yes, there was some unpleasantness, I think, wasn't there? There were all sorts of allegations flying around, and which I think has resulted in Samuel the Cat terminating his Twitter account, which is disappointing.
On all this, obviously, there's another character involved. I think it's the Racing Post video editor or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, I forgot about it's the key player. We forgot about. Sorry, yeah. A Divo, yeah.
And he's actually insulted us before as well. Like,
yes, Well, he's a good judge, though, isn't he? To be fair, I mean, you can't
absolutely.
Hold that
if you can't insult us, who can you not insult? Really,
there's low hanging fruit
when
there.
When do you insult us?
I can't remember.
I missed that.
I think basically he's a bit like me. He's a bit too much.
And becomes quarrelsome in drink, I think the phrase is.
Quarrelsome, annoying. I'm a much better drunk than he is, though, so bollocks you.
Yeah, up your arse. Fuck off. Yeah.
Usually when I'm absolutely drunk, I fall asleep, so I'm no damage to anyone.
That's fair enough.
It's the journey getting there, though, Lee. That usually takes about 15 hours.
Yeah, it does. That's the problem. It's getting longer and longer now. You usually have to start about midday now.
So Dave Lowe, I'd forgotten, yes, he was part of this drama, wasn't he?
I've been sent lots of things from listeners, and so obviously I've got to discuss it because that's what we do. I'm not going to...
Journalistic integrity is at the heart of everything we do, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's in our DNA.
A lot of people being very critical of Chris Poole and Johnny Deneen in my DMs for what took place on that thread. And I'm going to confess, I haven't fucking even read the thread. I can't comment properly. I'm sorry, folks. I really am. You'll say, well, why haven't you read the thread? I actually bet for a fucking living, and I've got my own shit and problems to go through on a daily basis. Sometimes I haven't the time to get involved in someone else's disagreements or annoyances or grievances. And whilst I did try and do a little bit on it, the problem for me is that one person saying one thing, one person saying another, somebody sending me screenshots of one thing that's happened, puts someone in a difficult position, then someone's sending me things of another, putting them in a difficult position. So I just thought, fucking hell, what a mess. And that was my actual conclusion. Now, how this all boils about is Samuel the Cat looking at P&L. To be honest, I think over eggs and takes it a bit too seriously. I think you have to view people. Chris Poole is a trader at Bet Victor.
He's a head of trading, isn't he? Yeah, he's a head guy.
He's a head guy, right?
And he couldn't tip me out of fucking bed either. So there you go.
What a
useless.
What
fucking
a
rubbish.
And supports Fulham, another idiot.
Yeah. Oh yes, he does. God, yeah, Mohammed Al Fayed. There's a connection there. We'll dig that out. Yeah.
We've got him banged to rights there. So there's that, and there's Johnny Deneen that obviously has worked for the Racing Post for a bit now. A lot of people speak highly of him in circles in Ireland and stuff like that as a go-alone punter. I've got nothing bad to say about any of the three in this spat. I don't like the video edit at the Racing Post. He can fuck off.
He's the main person in it. That's the thing, isn't it?
The other three have never done anything bad.
No, not at all. No, absolutely, I agree with that entirely. They're all nice people. I mean, they're public, or they're Twitter personas, and in person, they're very nice people that really shouldn't be falling out. I don't think.
And it's something I didn't really want to see because obviously I say what I think about people myself, and I can't find anything negative other than what I've said about Chris Poole, Mohammed Al Fayed connections and Fulham. And
Michael Jackson statue and all.
Yeah, Michael Jackson. He's had his photo with that, so that's a worry, isn't it? Yeah, next minute he'll have a signed photo of Bubbles, won't he? Michael Jackson's monkey thing.
He will, yeah. I'm forever blowing bubbles. No, that's Nick Davis, isn't it? Yeah. Yes.
I'm really sorry, people, because I know some of you wanted me to go at it.
Take sides, that's what they want.
Like a catamaran round the Isle of Wight.
Ours would capsize, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it actually would, actually. I definitely would.
Sink coming out of port.
Me and Leg in life jackets, etc.
Yes, they want you to take sides, don't they? And that's not possible to do because you don't have a dog in the fight, and they're all nice people, aren't they?
The point is, I could quote some of the stuff that's being sent to me, right, against one person, but then I've been sent other things from the other person. Which one do I go with? I don't know.
The problem with social media is, and everyone's guilty of it, everyone's guilty of taking it too seriously. Now, everyone can say that, no one can turn around and say, oh, I don't take it seriously, because I think a lot of people do. The problem is, everyone, it's performative, isn't it? It allows people to say things that ordinarily they wouldn't necessarily say in real life. And, people take against people that actually in reality they probably haven't got a difficulty with. And that's the issue with it, I think. For instance, like, John Leng, that's not your real voice, is it, John? His real voice is like Noel Coward. I mean, he lives in a flat in Bloomsbury. He has a cigarette holder and minces around in a silk dressing gown all day. His butler runs him a bath before the bar stewards and sort of says, "You've got bar."
That bit's true.
Yeah, you got bar stewards in an hour, Mr. Leng. Oh, terribly, these ghastly Bulgarians. Where's my equity card? And that's what he talks like in real life. It's all an act. It's for tax purposes. He's as posh as fuck. So, what you see and hear on social media isn't always the truth. That's the problem. And it does cause people to get upset. And frankly, what they argued about, whether someone has 2 points or 1 point on. And I think, I'm not siding with anybody, but at the end of the day, who really kind of follows people in blind, particularly on Channel 4? No, I don't think anybody's actually losing real money based on the selections offered by the likes of Mick Fitzgerald. Because I think if you're new to the sport and you try them out for a week and you realise that you've done 80 quid, you're going to think, fuck that, I don't know what they're on about. So I don't think anyone's doing their bollocks, are they, really? Just take away the points from everything. No points, no recommended stake, just an opinion. And that solves it, doesn't it?
My advice to anybody in podcasts, anybody in space, any kind of like journalistic content regards to tipping horses, is simply state your confidence behind it. You'd have an interest bet, a decent bet, or a maximum bet or something.
Yeah.
That way, no one can actually guideline as how much you're making, because if you've had 4 like interest bets lose and then your maximum bet wins. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. And quite right. And you just tell people, I really, really fancy this. I can't see this getting beat, or I think this is a big price. I might throw a couple of quid at it. That way, then, you're not hostage to fortune. The minute you put points and guided stakes and betting banks and all that, you're a hostage to fortune. You really are. And you're just better off not doing it. And you can still do the same thing, have the same content, but just don't have any staking.
Yeah.
On the plus side with us as well, I mean, if we put a maximum bet out, and if it gets beat, the listeners know full well we've had a good do on it, because we spend the next fortnight chuntering and telling them that we're living on fucking Weetabix.
And soup. Yeah.
And soup. Yeah.
The producer's made soup today. She's made soup today. So that's the sign of the times into 2025.
Yeah. What sort of soup was it? What did she make?
Dishcloth flavour.
Carrot and coriander with some
very nice.
spices.
Very nice.
You're still doing all right then, Lee. It's when you get on dishcloth flavour soup.
Just ring it out again. Yeah.
I probably gave the game away there. It's some dishwater shit.
Ooh, coriander. Listen to him. Who does he think he is? There'll be some people going, I think he's got a few quid. Coriander. Never heard so much bollocks, yeah. And then other people going, oh, carrots, fucking flash bastard. Who's going to call carrots?
Carrots aren't cheap now.
Carrots. Ooh, yeah.
So thank you for all your questions on the Chris Poole, Sam Cat, and that sort of Deneen affair. And I do appreciate all your inputs. Please don't give me a hard time for not slagging certain people off on that one, because
we like them all. That's the point. We like them all, and that's it.
You're asking me to flag off someone that all 3 that I like, and I'm not in a position to do it. So there we go.
No, so fuck you. Yeah,
they're all good people to me, so I've got nothing to say on that one. Producer's been on. She's took over from Sam the Cat this week.
Get that edited out. Yeah, over the hour that is now.
Fuck him, that's it. You've deleted your Twitter. What can we do? You've left us high and dry, hanging.
Bereft. Yeah, we're bereft. Go on then.
So anyway, quite a good one from her, really.
Go on.
I think John will like this one. You can transport one furious elephant to any point in history, right?
Yes.
Where would you put it, and which member of the racing fraternity would you have on damage control?
Crikey. You want to check that soup? I don't think it's coriander in that, I tell you.
Well, this is Sam the Cat style for me.
Any point in history, yeah?
Yeah, John, where would you take that elephant?
Well, I'd like 2 picks, to be honest.
Go on then. Your next best and a nap.
The first one would be Admiral Rouse's office, just as he's about to get it on with his secretary. And secondly would be Mark Johnston's last day at veterinary college.
Oh yeah.
So he never
Tomorrow
trained.
I start training. Tomorrow I start my new career. Yeah.
And to put someone in charge of damage limitation, I would get Teddy Beckett to chuck his massive trilby over it.
A massive carpet.
That'd work. He's the Mr. Ben of
Absolutely.
do anything.
After work full of plaudits at the National Stud, you couldn't be in better hands to control a furious elephant, could you?
No. Yeah, you're right.
I love that answer. Chris, can you beat that?
I can't beat that. I would agree with the Mark Johnson thing, particularly after yesterday with Hayley Turner riding a winner there. It's just doing us in the last 100 yards. That reminded me of how much I detest that yard. So yeah, I'm with John on that.
Yeah, John's is a really good one, but the only thing I just thought John might have said, I just thought some monarchy might be involved with this elephant.
Oh yeah. Oh, hang on, cancel that. Yeah, you could say that. You could say sort of John Warren in it.
Coronation Day 2 years ago. You're just in the Abbey.
Yeah. Even trampling the hat in its own car.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. Soon, Mr.
But
Warren, all this will be yours.
The snipers would take it out before it managed to get its hands on the hat.
The day we guessed the right hat colour. Yeah. No, that's a good question, that.
Yeah. Great show, folks. We're going to call time there. Hope you've enjoyed it. That's all from me, John and Chris. We're back next week, the same time, with more absolute rubbish. Bye for now.